Good evening, everybody, wherever you're watching. Thanks for joining me. This is Kim Soo from Kim Soo Acu, and I have been reading the book Waking the Tiger by Peter Levine. Waking the Tiger, Healing Trauma. And Peter Levine is, I think he's a psychologist, if I have that right, like a PsyD or something. Um, I don't know the difference between all those. Just that there's different tools like talk therapy and it's also pharmacological therapy or drugs. So he's writing about the relationship between trauma and healing, and how the body has to be like a central channel in that, or a focus in whatever steps you're taking in the healing of trauma. So he says, Um, this is from the first chapter, second page. Trauma is a fact of life. It does not, however, have to be a life sentence. Not only can trauma be healed, but with appropriate guidance and support, it can be transformative. Trauma has the potential to be one of the most significant forces for psychological, social, and spiritual awakening and evolution. How we handle trauma as individuals, communities, and societies greatly influences the quality of our lives. It ultimately affects how or even whether we will survive as a species. The practice of modern medicine and psychology, while giving lip service to a connection between mind and body, greatly underestimates the deep relationship that they have in the healing of trauma. For thousands of years, Oriental and shamanic healers have recognized not only that the mind affects the body, as in psychosomatic medicine, but how every organ system of the body equally has a psychic representation in the fabric of the mind. Recent revolutionary developments in neuroscience and psychoneuroimmunology have established solid evidence of the intricate two-way communication between mind and body. Most trauma therapies address the mind through talk and the molecules of the mind with drugs. Both of these approaches can be of use. However, trauma is not, will not, and can never be fully healed until we also address the essential role played by the body. We must understand how the body is affected by trauma and its central position in healing its aftermath. Without this foundation, our attempts at mastering trauma will be limited and one-sided. So Peter Levine is also the founder of a body-centered or somatic-centered modality of treatment called somatic experiencing, which I think involves like meditation and other modes of reflection, like maybe taking notes and sharing those with colleagues, and feeling different sensations in the body, exploring them, naming them. I don't want to say too much because I'm not an SE practitioner and I haven't had SE, but um, about SE, that's really about all I know. Maybe I'll get a good definition of that up for you, just so you know who a little bit more about like who Peter Levine is, or rather his relationship with the physical body. Somatic experiencing from Wikipedia. Oh, here we go. Somatic Experiencing International. Okay, so transforming lives through healing trauma. It says a body-oriented approach to the healing of trauma and other stress disorders is helping thousands of people resolve trauma and the resulting mental and physical health concerns. So pretty awesome. And I wanted to say, there are many roads into the body. There are many ways to become grounded, and there's many ways to explore the body, and most importantly, I should have said this first, there's many ways to clear energetic blockages. And you can do that to varying degrees with varying amounts of lasting effects using like massage, acupuncture, chiropractic, movement, exercise, breath work is an incredible one. Meditation, and sometimes foods in like a more blood, fluids, bowels, secretions type of blockage way, right? So moving those things is often best accomplished through like herbs and foods. Okay, so my point is that acupuncture is really relevant for this kind of exploration of your body. If you have an energetic blockage, let's say you have one somewhere around CV14, which is considered one of the centers of a human being. There's three centers of a human being. There's the upper center, middle center, and there's the lower center, which is the dantian or the lower belly, corresponding to, I think, about the second chakra, I think. So yeah, second chakra, fourth chakra, and then sixth chakra. So let's say that there's a blockage in this area, the fourth chakra, CV14 area. Someone with that particular blockage might have physical manifestations like racing heartbeat or irregular heartbeat, heavy heartbeat. They might just have a sensation of what they sometimes call feeling extremely restless in the chest, very agitated, like a physical thing, an area they can feel inside the chest. Their breathing may be affected. They may have shortness of breath. They might also have dizziness from the combination of the heart rhythm being irregular and the breathing rhythm being irregular, which implies that those centers in the lower part of the brain are not regulating those organs. And what's the relationship between those reflexive centers on the brainstem and like the limbic center that houses the emotions and fear and all that? Like, what's the relationship between those two? Well, all areas of the brain share tracts. Um, but your emotions, your state of mind, your limbic system can affect all the essential functions of the body, right? Sweating, sleep, appetite, libido, creativity, fear response, sense of well-being, constipation, diarrhea, bowels stuff like evacuation, all that stuff. And among those are like your heart rate and your respiration, right? And it's like well known among acupuncturists that people who are suffering from stress or healing from trauma, that they often have things like heart palpitations or irregular heartbeat, shortness of breath. That's like a classic, like two or three symptom constellation that points us like right to the Shen, right to the spirit. Treat the spirit, right? And the spirit, the Shen, lives inside of the heart. I shouldn't be going over here. I should be going like here. Heart's probably about there. I don't know exactly where it is. So anyway, like you you always think about the emotions and the spirit when you think about the heart. So if somebody says I'm having like this uncomfortable feeling in my chest, you want to think about the possibility that there's like a spirit level blockage, which it is. So, and part of the reason is because that's the nature of the heart. All of the emotions affect the heart. Positive, all emotions affect the heart. I almost said positive and negative. I'm trying to untrain myself from that. That there's no negative emotions and there's no strictly positive emotions. That there shouldn't be a dipole like that or whatever in my mind. Yeah, so they all affect the heart. They all home to the heart, and the heart stores the spirit. And so if the heart is disturbed in some way, irregular rhythm, being too tight, too fast, cannot rest, that kind of thing, uh, the spirit doesn't have a restful, excuse me a second. The spirit doesn't have like a restful abode to come home to. So it can be on top of like the heart rhythm and respiratory stuff. You also can see like fear and mental stuff, like mind level stuff, like fear, sometimes nightmares, hallucinations, sometimes um, Sometimes people, if they go through a process like that, it actually enhances psychic abilities because I guess the attunement of the mind to the spirit, like coming back, bringing the spirit and the mind back into attunement, I think probably through the hard inner work, the hard spiritual work that we have to do during times like that. I think that's probably like a really important aspect of spiritual growth that a lot of people don't think about. But um, if you're someone who's having anxiety or panic or depression, or if you feel, or if you're recovering from trauma, right, and you know that, or if you feel that you have accumulated trauma, and you could just call that stress. But if you feel that you have accumulated trauma or stress, acupuncture is a great option for you. And it doesn't have to be like complicated or fancy or anything. You don't have to pay $250 for a visit. Like if you can only afford $40, $50, go to like a community acupuncture place where they have a sliding scale, or where they will allow you to reduce your fee down to what you can pay or whatever. So uh, try not to talk about all that, like sliding scale stuff, because I don't want to like I want to leave that behind and just focus on like what's beautiful about acupuncture. And what's beautiful about acupuncture is that when you're seeking to get to know your body, to connect to where it is you're blocked, and what does it feel like when your energy is open, when you're on that exploratory like journey, acupuncture is great because it creates a very clear feeling of like the channels, or the floodgates starting to open, and the circulation, energy, the water, the fluids, the blood, the heat, everything moving through. So sometimes you feel opening and moving in places that either you didn't think you would feel opening and moving, or that it feels very different. So, like for example, the first time that I felt the movement of chi, right? All these words are like, I'm so tired of using them. The first time I felt the movement of chi, um, it felt like insects. Um, Sorry to, I don't want to freak you out, but it felt like insects underneath my skin, and I could feel it like advancing at a specific rate that I figured out, I noticed was uniform, whether it was on like the left arm or the right arm, the forearm or the leg, torso, or the head, right? The chi moves at a regular rate, just like your blood moves at a regular rate, right? But I didn't expect it to feel like that. I mean, I thought it was going to feel like warm and kind of shocking, like lightning almost, right? But it didn't feel like that at all. It felt like like insects. And then the first time I felt any of my chakras, the energy centers, I was doing a meditation, and I had read that the chakras turn counterclockwise and that the quality of their spinning generates a feeling of cool air. And I thought, wow, that sounds like really the opposite of what I would think would happen. I would think that instead of counterclockwise, like left to right, I would think it would be going like right to left, like clockwise. And and the cool thing, I thought, like, we're warm beings. The energy centers should be warm, I would think. But I did the meditation, and you know how if you've done meditations where you visualize energy moving, you know that the first few times you do it, you may not feel very much because you're just getting to know the process. And but once I had it like memorized enough that I didn't have to think too much about going through it, I started to feel the movement of energy. And sure enough, I can discern like clockwise. I don't know if this thing's going to transpose or what. Anyway, mirror image or what. Anyway, I sure as shit could feel the movement of energy this way, which is clockwise in my body, and then this way, which is counterclockwise in my body. And I also could discern a cool temperature in those energy centers. So, getting to know yourself and figuring out where your blockages are, and like feeling those, which to me sometimes have qualities of like materials. Sometimes my blockages can feel like, they usually feel like some aspect of metal. usually like a dark, heavy metal, like iron or rusted iron. Often feels like that, lead. And those blockages, if we're not always aware of them. In fact, I'll just volunteer right now that I have like plenty of blockages I'm not aware of, I'm sure. But because we're not aware of them, we don't encounter them very often. When you have something like acupuncture or breath work or massage, or craniosacral, or meditation, when you have something and you actually connect with your body for the first time in a while at that depth, it can blow your fucking mind. I mean, the first time I did breath work, for example, and moved a blockage in my heart, like in my general heart area, I had a flood of emotions come out. I like to say that it cracked my heart wide open that first session. Thank you, WTS, for that. And I went to that session asking for help to be able to feel my feelings more strongly, because I had not felt anything for quite a while, and I felt like I could not emote completely, and there was more in me, but I couldn't tap it. It's like in a different room that was soundproof and sealed, and I couldn't get in there. But breathwork, man, within like a few minutes, I was like really in touch with my true like love for other people and my true vulnerability. So, the experience of doing breath work is different from doing acupuncture, and one is going to work a little bit better for one person and the other will work better for other people, or one may work better for you on the day that you're feeling a little bit more like guarded, and one may work better when you want to just like go all in and jump off the cliff and experience what flight feels like for the great unknown. And on that, I will bid you good night, everyone.